In this video, I'm going to show you how I sign more clients and do less work, and how I manage to scale out of what I call one client hell as a setter, closer, or growth op, anyone kind of in the info space. Because if you're a growth operator who's clicked on this video, you might think you're a business owner. But most growth operators I speak to and most people that I know in this space are literally just freelancers, whether they're sales or closers, working for one client, for one commission, for one rev share, with no systems, processes, or any possibility for scale past spending more time with that one client, still trading time for money as if they were in a 9 to 5, essentially pretending to be entrepreneurs because their clients have them on a leash like this, like simply put. And I was there too, right? This is a photo of me from just under a year ago. I started off as an appointment setter. I was doing about 5K a month when this photo was taken. Then I went into closing, making 10K a month. But throughout that whole time period of being a sales rep, I knew that I had no security. Even though I did have a skill, I was very underleveraged and very, very replaceable. I knew that if an offer went to shit, I'd have to, spend another few weeks finding an offer. So naturally, because I wanted more control and I wanted more leverage, I went into growth operating, where, I signed a couple of clients through outreach, and I signed one big client that I scaled to from 30K to 130K in the first month of operating, then to 259K in the second month. And this was August. And I was on a 10% rev share. So I was making 20 to 30K a month, but literally that was it. I signed these clients like kind of on the whim. I didn't have a system for signing more clients. I had no SOPs for delivering for those clients. If I signed a new client, I'd literally have to start everything again from scratch in terms of the delivery process for them. I'd have to build everything out from scratch. And that didn't even matter, right? Because I had no time to even think about signing a new client, because there was always, literally every day, there was a fire that needed to be put out with the sales team, with this client that I had, or as Zapier automation broke. And I was essentially working as an employee, yes, a higher paid employee, as a growth operator. So this is a huge, huge trap that people fall into. And the reason I've added this photo is because I went to, in July, it was my mom's birthday. I'd just signed like kind of my big growth op client, and I'd gone away thinking that, okay, I'm a growth operator now. I'm going to have more freedom. I can kind of work when I want. And that was true in a sense. But throughout this holiday, where it was my mom's birthday, I still found myself checking Slack all the time, because although I was an operator with more leverage, I didn't have to be on call, I still had to be active. And there was still a lot of fires to be put out every single day within the business. Fast forward 5 months though. My agency in November, from the day that photo was taken, did $50,000 in cash with over 90% margins in that month. And as you can see, here's kind of my very bad accounting. So this was rev share payments, setup fees, and a bit of licensing as well. And like in those 5 months, I did like a 2x jump in terms of the money I was making, but like I was doing so much less work in terms of day to day inside the business. And yes, I was still working hard, but I was working hard on higher leverage tasks. And how do I do that? That's what this video is going to be about. There are 3 pillars to this, right? Acquisition, fulfillment, and team. First of all, we're going to get into acquisition, because you cannot scale a business really if you don't sign more clients eventually. Yes, you can scale your current clients, but if you really, really want to scale, you're going to have to sign more clients eventually, right? So acquisition. For me, as a growth operator, there are 2 main ways to acquire clients, one being outreach, the other being content. In terms of outreach, the biggest needle movers I was able to apply in terms of building an outreach system were, number one, having a solid AI lead scraper, and also being able to train a VA on manually scraping leads. So I had a custom built N8N lead scraper for both Instagram and YouTube. This is available for my licensing clients, but it is insane. It's the best lead scraper on the market. Like, it literally plugs leads. I can choose niche, I can choose everything, and it plugs them straight into an Airtable where I can get my VA to send them custom messages, custom looms, and all of that. And in terms of looms, it is the number one way to do outreach. I don't think, just sending text like works nowadays, especially with the amount of growth operators out there, with E-Man like shilling his growth operating thing. My strategy for looms, and what has worked best for me inside of my agency, is sending custom looms for the best leads. And when I make a custom loom, typically I aim to make one a day. And so with one a day, I typically add the creator to my close friend story, tag them in a story, make a close friend story post with just them, and I tag them in it so it like shows up not only in their DMs, but also in kind of their notifications on Instagram. And they're like, oh, someone's tagged me in a story, I'm going to watch it. And I put the loom link in the story and say, hey, just check out this loom that I made for you. And then for the rest of the leads that like kind of come in, and I'm like, okay, maybe I don't have a case study in this niche, it's a bit more of a long shot, I will send an evergreen loom. And like I said, I've trained a VA to replace the thumbnails and the titles of those looms. Basically, what you can do inside of Loom is you duplicate the loom, the evergreen one, you add a different screenshot like as the thumbnail. So I normally screenshot the creator's Instagram, and then I put their name in the title so it looks like a custom loom, even though it's an evergreen loom. And in terms of my loom framework, typically, obviously, you're going to start with a bold promise or kind of guarantee as the hook. I then do a load of social proof in terms of the numbers I've generated for other clients. Typically, I lead with webinars as like, I can do a webinar for you, because I typically like to work with creators who maybe already have an offer, but a lot of stuff can be improved. That's kind of the angle I go at in terms of my agency. So I typically pitch with a webinar and educate them on that mechanism. And, you know, Hormozy, Shelby, TGR are all doing webinars. I then typically like to pitch like the service stack and like, actually, what do we do individually, and show them rather than telling them what we don't. Say, oh, I'm going to do this and this. I show them what we've done for other clients, and then actually breaking down kind of how we onboard people and show that I actually have a process for onboarding, which makes me seem more credible, as I've obviously done this before. So that's kind of my Loom framework. And that's what I do in terms of outreach. And this is pretty systemized. I try and do one custom Loom every single day. I don't do them every day, but that is my plan. But for me, higher leverage than outreach at the moment, where the stage of my agency is at, in terms of we do have a very solid client base, is content. And you may not think it, right? This is a screenshot of my YouTube channel, 9 videos. These 9 videos that I have made have literally contributed to at least 30,000 in setup fees and probably 40,000 in setup fees plus retainers. You can see some kind of, you can see all these like watch screenshots, Wise payments, all of this sort of stuff. Literally, these are just from the last couple of months alone. You can see November, December, November, all mostly coming from YouTube or coming from an outbound Loom where they've already watched my YouTube videos, or I've sent them my YouTube videos pre-call to completely nurture them. Like I've signed 7K setup fees where I've been connected with someone or I've been referred someone, and they've actually checked out all my YouTube videos before the call, which has made them trust me and just know that I know what I'm talking about when it comes to scaling their info product. So yeah, in terms of the strategy overall for YouTube first is, if you're a beginner, because I do want to make this like actionable for everyone, use borrowed authority. You see this a lot. People breaking down the funnels and the processes of big names in the industry because it gets more clicks. I would 100% do that if you're starting out. Make sure you come at a unique angle. Don't like spew the same stuff as everyone else. And really the reason why people do this is because it shows that you know what you're talking about. It shows that you can understand kind of how funnels work. And if you can explain how someone's doing it, there's a high likelihood that you can do it for someone else. But eventually, as you start getting results for the clients you're signing from that content and from your outreach, you should be documenting the process that you're actively implementing for your clients done for you. And you should be really getting results for your done for you clients. If you can't get results done for you, you're never going to be able to sell like consulting at all. So that's what I obviously did. I had a previous channel where I did some like kind of content breakdowns and stuff, but I did start a new channel, which was probably not the best thing, but this is the channel you're watching now. You can see my first video is on a webinar that we did. And this video on a webinar, you see, got 500 views. And literally the day after I posted it, inbound leads, saw a YouTube video about the webinar. You know, I'm interested in working with you. Boom, client signed. And I think I signed this client. It was a multi-4-figure kind of consulting deal on his webinar. But yeah, and through working with done for you clients like I did, you learn specific mechanisms that you can break down in further detail. So for me, a big focus is webinars. So I have multiple long videos on webinars that really help me sign more clients and have attracted so many consulting deals for me, because nobody else has those sort of results. Nobody else can make those sort of videos because they haven't done the things that I have done. And for example, this video is a video that I've made for someone who was where I was 4 or 5 months ago, to help them avoid the same mistakes I made and give them value. And hopefully they see me as someone who can potentially help them scale their agency inside of my licensing, right? Some of my content is more targeted towards getting agency clients and some is more valuable for operators. But because of the way I structure my offers, I can serve both. And I'll be getting into that in a second. But first, let me double down on kind of Instagram. One of my biggest regrets so far with Instagram is not doubling down on Reels. I haven't really posted any Reels. And my profile is good in terms of outreach. I've got everything I need in terms of outreach to sign clients. And I post a lot of stories, and I've generated a lot of money through stories, through consulting deals, through, you know, signing some done for you agency clients. But I don't have any content that attracts my dream follower, my ICP, that I can then funnel to my YouTube, whether that be for my licensing offer or for my agency offer. So my plan for 2026 is going to be making a lot more reels, promoting my YouTube videos, doing case study breakdowns of all of my client results in short form, doing some more top of funnel content, and just giving raw value and insights, lessons that I'm learning on my journey as I go, as well as more consistent story sequences. And my strategy for my own story sequences is going to be like heavily just results focused, because we do get so many results, a lot of value sequences, reposting reels and stuff, and then occasional CTAs to liquidate that traffic. So yeah, one big regret I have with running my agency is Instagram. If I could go back in time, I'd be posting a lot more on Instagram, but take that as a lesson learned. And yeah, this is generally like all you need to know about signing clients. It's a mix of outreach and content, and they kind of go hand in hand. Now, going back to the YouTube strategy, I have 2 different offers. And I think this also plays a big part in everything, is the way you structure your fulfillment as an agency, as a growth operator, right? The main thing that like I want to nail down that I don't see enough people do is they have one offer like, oh, I can only just do done for you agency. Like I can only do that. But realistically, if you want to grow, you need to have a hybrid offer, because with better content and outreach that you're doing, you should be getting more people who are interested in working with you. And if you only offer growth operating, right, like kind of like the traditional method where you do everything for a client as a service, you're letting all the people who might want to learn a few of your systems or consult with you walk right past you, and you're not collecting that cash. Whereas the hybrid offer that I'm going to kind of get into now is an offer that allows you to serve every client across your market efficiently. So how a hybrid offer kind of looks like and how I can describe it is you have done for you for top 1% clients that you can help scale. So for example, this is one of my clients. We've done over 1.2 million for him in the past 8 months. This is like just one processor. We've done about 600K on WOP as well, and he has less than 6,000 followers on Instagram. So for clients like that who have big potential, we do done for you and we take a rev share. We have other clients who maybe aren't working on who maybe aren't worth working on a rev share with, but may just want one of the services we can offer inside of the agency, and we do a build and release. So, for example, with Honest Brands, we did a build and release webinar for 7K setup fee USD and a rev share on the back end, and that webinar made $135,000 in a week. And then I also have a DIY kind of coaching offer for potential other growth operators who just want the systems or who just want to work with me one-to-one to scale their agencies, and they just want to learn from me. Right. And so how the flywheel kind of goes in terms of the agency model is, number one, you've got to be acquiring the skills. If you don't have any skills, if you're a setter or a closer watching this and you don't have skills and you don't know how to scale info products, there's no point starting an info agency. So you have to acquire those skills first. And then you become more valuable. You can sign done for you clients. And with done for you clients, typically you're going to get results and you're going to get case studies. With those case studies and with those results you're getting for done for you clients, you can kind of, turn what you've done for them into SOPs. Start building a team, start systemizing delivery. And even if you have literally just one done for you case study, you don't need any more than that. You can use that as your SOP, as your system for delivery, so that it becomes easier as you scale. And even one really dialed in system for one specific funnel or one specific thing, you can license to other creators or other operators who want to learn from you or who want to implement things themselves. So it's very, very important to turn what you're doing done for you into SOPs early on. So then you can obviously, like I said, start selling those frameworks, start doing build and releases, start consulting, and serve top 1% done for you clients with more ease because everything's already documented, and obviously charge more for that as well. And then kind of stage 5 is going more into the consulting side while also scaling your agency, using one-on-one calls you do with clients to improve your SOPs and course material, and then eventually even transition into only a consultant with your agency serving, once again, top 1% clients. And this is kind of just like a level up where you do have those 3 kind of different offers, which is something that, I'm in the process of getting to now. But all of this kind of flywheel that I've kind of described, just shows the importance of SOPs and documentation. My biggest regret, other than Instagram, is not documenting everything that I've kind of done for clients in more detail. And I've really started nailing down this now. So funnel templates, story sequences, AI setups for clients, post-booking workflows, sales management flows, funnel breakdowns, literally everything you can think of now that I do for clients and that my team does for clients, we document it inside of this one school. We do have some internal SOPs as well. So that if I was going to onboard 2 done for you clients tomorrow, all of the SOPs my team needs and everything that they need to know is already there. And then this can also serve as what I kind of sell to my licensing clients. They're just using the same things my agency uses. So I know exactly what they're doing. They're following my system. My systems obviously get results. I have a ton of case studies and they're going to see phenomenal success as well. And it's as easy as they can plug and play those systems into their own agency. And yes, it's kind of more competition for me, but I think really info in general is just such a blue ocean at the moment. And I think there's enough space for everyone in the market. But yeah, at the end of the day, I just wanted to know, it does come down to skills, right? That first stage of learning a skill, if you're just a setter or a closer or a growth operator who doesn't actually know what they're doing, you do have a skill gap. And if you don't know how to do something, you can't document it as an SOP. And it literally took me over a year, like I say, through trial and error to document everything that I now know and that I now use for my agency. And one of my biggest regrets is not paying for someone's help to be able to do this and kind of take their stuff, essentially. But yeah, I've learned my lesson. And one skill that I was missing, when I was writing this about a month ago, is the skill of just ads, paid ads. We'd run it for a few clients, but I wasn't 100% confident in my service. And so I'd gone all in and just learning paid ads, paying people to learn from them. And now we run paid ads for clients, and we're planning on scaling that side of the business and scaling client offers from basically 0 all the way to 100K a month with purely paid ads, and in turn take a lot more rev share. And yeah, on that note, having a USP, so a unique selling point with your agency. So for us, it's webinars, looking to the ad side of things as well now, can be very important when it comes to selling done with you services, but it isn't, imperative. So that's just something as well to bear in mind on the fulfillment side of things. Now, all of this is great, right? You can be doing a lot of acquisition, be doing a lot of fulfillment, but at the end of the day, you are only a human with 24 hours in the day, and you're going to burn out very quickly if you're signing a lot of clients and having to do everything yourself. So, really, the first step before you can really double down on acquisition and fulfillment is having the right team in place. And this is something that I see so many people skimp out on when they get into growth operating. They want to do absolutely everything themselves, right? But if you have the right systems in place, you know what you're doing, you know how to acquire clients, you know how to fulfill for them. Scaling is simply a game of finding people. So, what hires you need to make to hit, multi 6 and 7-figure scale with an info agency? Number one is, in my opinion, your copywriter or your COO. Copywriter, for me, my COO, Simon, is absolutely phenomenal. He writes most copy. He oversees the VA, which I'll get into in a second. He takes most executive decisions on funnels and ads as well, something we've been doing together. And he does majority of client communication and calls on the marketing side of things. Also, of course, I have a sales manager. This one is very, very self-explanatory. It's just all hiring, firing, and managing of sales teams across done-for-you clients. He builds new sales scripts. He handles the hiring. He handles the firing on a revenue share basis. When we offer sales management as a service, I know that I can rely on him to build a very strong sales team that is going to convert the leads that we bring to the offer. And then the final hire, this could be one of the first hires, it could be one of the last hires that you make, is a VA. So this, the role of the VA in my agency, I can tell you what I've done, what's worked for me personally, is scraping leads manually, as well as using the lead scraper with NAN, like I mentioned at the start of the video, sending and updating those custom looms and sending looms to the right prospect. So it actually sends the evergreen looms. Obviously, I record the custom looms, building story sequences for clients, and then building basic, shall I say, funnels and automations for clients, as well as managing, WhatsApp groups for client webinars and a few different kind of VA jobs here and there. And this person obviously can just be paid, 500 to 1K base, depending on if they're part-time or full-time. My COO is on a rev share in the agency. We're kind of partners in that sense. And then sales managers takes rev share on the offers that we manage for. And that's literally all you need to hit 7-figure scale. You may need another copywriter eventually, but to hit 7 figures a year with an agency, so 83K a month, I don't think you need anything more than this. And really with an agency, especially in the beginning, you do want to keep things lean. There's a fine line between me saying, okay, don't be a solo operator and don't do everything yourself because it's impossible to scale, to don't hire 20 different people to try and help you scale when you really don't need that yet, right? And also, one lesson I've learned from team, because this is like something that when people implement and when I implemented, I fell into the trap of having a very systemized business. This was around Christmas time, but I really did take my foot off the gas a little. So be very careful to not fall into the trap of not working as hard when you do have a systemized business. You should be focusing on the only things that you can do inside of the business, which for me, the biggest levers I can do are doubling down on content, as you can see with this video, doubling down on my network where I can get more referrals, more clients. And both of these really just lead into a bigger personal brand and more clients. And then obviously looping back towards the acquisition side of things, where if I've built my team and built my system to a place where delivery is really good and I'm less involved day-to-day in delivery, I can focus more on acquisition and therefore grow the business, and also focus more on the current done-for-you clients that we have in terms of taking the executive decisions that can help them scale. So yeah, that is my guide and how I got out of the one client hell, how I got out of setting, how I got out of closing, and I'm now making anywhere from, it's not 50K every month. Hopefully it will be soon, but this month we're on track to do at least 40,000 in profit/revenue. Profit margins are very good. So yeah, I hope this was valuable for you. If you do want to partner with my agency as a coach, there's a link in the description for you. If you want to license my agency systems and you want to get into growth operating, or you are a growth operator who wants to consult with me one-on-one, there's a VSL for you as well, kind of explaining my offer. And yeah, best of luck and thank you for watching.